there, Battle Brothers, and welcome to yet another video, and welcome to yet another review video. Today, I'm not reviewing a novel or a short story, nor am I reviewing an action figure. I'm reviewing an animated show. Oh gosh golly, brother-in-law. Unexpected. No, not really. You can see or watch this show on Warhammer Plus, to which I subscribed quite recently to try it out if the content available will also be available in my country, the Czech Republic, because it very often happens that streaming services are limited in Central Europe, and that the content available is quite different from that, I don't know, that you can find in the West, for example. Luckily, everything works, and I have access to everything. And I watched the Angels of Death, a 10-episode mini-series about blood angels. And let me tell you, and I made a community post about that as well, that must be the best show I have seen in years, in a long time. Now, when I say Grimdark, that's precisely what that show is and what that show breathes. It breathes Grimdark so much that I was actually surprised. Now, it's about 3 years old. I think it came out in about 2022. And it focuses on a small company of blood angels that are the crew of the ship The Sword of Baal, with the Captain Orfeo. I'm looking down because I've got notes. I mean, it's always difficult. I mean, when you read like 5 novels a month and you watch a TV show and you collect action figures and all that, you know, like all that is surrounded, you know, like all that surrounding Warhammer 40k, is just so many names that you just can't keep up with it at the same time. So I just made notes. And so we are focusing on the main characters: Ancaeus, Kazarion, Orfeo, some others. There is a ship mistress on which I'm blanking. I didn't write her name down. I'm sorry. And then there is a venerable dreadnought, Ignis. He is an awesome character. And so they get stranded above the planet Naiades, and they are battling a cult of gene stealers. And so it's in medias res, right? So the captain and his company, they go down and they got stranded, and they all communication is lost. And then they realize that, oh boy, the fleet around the planet that was supposed to be, or supposedly it was the Imperium fleet, is not as it seems, because the fleet starts attacking the Sword of Baal. And so everything goes all right. Everything goes topsy-turvy. And so they have to battle the fleet, and then they decide to go down, you know, Ancaeus and his battle brothers and Kazarion, they decide to go down and retrieve their captain, because suddenly they got a Vox contact to their captain. So that, they find out that he's alive. So we can't leave without our captain, because in the meanwhile they get a message from Baal that they need help, that they are summoned back, and they say, we are coming back, but not until we get our captain back, right? And so I'm not going to spoil the story any further. Let's just say that it involves a planet of Xenos that the main characters have to go to retrieve and save their captain. Suffice to say that at the present moment about the plot. What is important is that overall the show breathes the atmosphere that I really connect with Warhammer 40k. And it was a perfect representation and depiction of the Blood Angels. Now, mind you, again, I have to say, like I said in many of my previous videos, I am still considered to be a newbie to Warhammer 40k. Only started about 10 months ago. I have read a considerable number of novels and short stories, things like that, over 30, 35. And I mean, I have been delving into the lore so much. But still, I mean, you discover, and I will, even if I continue discovering the lore of Warhammer 40k, Horus Heresy, things like that, for the next 5, 10, 15 years, I will still have something to discover every day. It's such a vast universe that has been, of course, has been built for decades and decades, since the 80s, since the establishment of Games Workshop. But it really depicts the Blood Angels a lot. And you can learn quite a lot about Blood Angels just by watching this episode. Coincidentally, I am reading a Horus Heresy novel dealing with Blood Angels right now. And so I'm kind of, it's like a perfect fit, because I seem to, and it's really not really deliberate. I seem to be focusing on one chapter at a time for a, certain period of time, and then I move on to another chapter. It's like some sort of systemic learning of Warhammer 40k, and it's just not really any, I don't have any plans, I don't have any lists, what I will be reading or watching next. I just decide on a whim. But two things I have to point out, really highlight about the TV show. And the story was okay. I mean, what do you want to write? I've basically described the story to you at the beginning of the video. So putting the story aside, what I would highlight and what really makes the atmosphere what it is the soundtrack. I mean, it's not like the thing. It's the conglomerate of things that make the show. But the soundtrack, it's a combination of electronic music and choir and instrumental music. And all of it combined. And that's precisely what Warhammer 40k, the Grimdark, is. It's futuristic, but at the same time, kind of, Gothic style, late medieval-ish laced universe. So it's really, I really don't like people telling me oh, you subscribe to Warhammer Plus, I'm not giving them anyone. There was a comment that somebody wrote at one of my previous videos in which I announced that, oh, I subscribe to Warhammer Plus, and the comment was, oh, consume and move on to consume another product. Yeah. And that comes from a mouth of a person who watches one heels versus babyface video after another, one neurotic video after another, from a person who consumes 5-hour-long live streams of those nitwits, of those culture cancers out there on the internet who don't know anything but complain and cry on the internet for super chats. Come on, listen. I see a good show, I appreciate it. And besides this show, and I'm going to get to the other thing that I wanted to highlight, besides this show, there are others, but there is a huge library of back issues of White Dwarf, the White Dwarf magazine, and old codexes and supplemental material that I am getting through. It's fascinating to go 10 years old and more White Dwarf. I haven't checked how far back it goes, but I hope it goes way back so that I can check out those old White Dwarf magazines. So a show from 2022 where it's made so well. So, and the other thing that I wanted to highlight is the animation itself. It's black and white, and the other color, the only other color in the show is red. So everything that is red, and it is black and white. So if you can imagine that in a Warhammer 40k show about Blood Angels, there's quite a lot of red. It's good, man. It's very good. And I mean, one thing that has always fascinated me about Warhammer 40k, one of the million things, is the starships. I mean, I've always been more of a fantasy than a science fiction fan. I love both, but if I had to choose, I would go fantasy over science fiction. And so I love starships. Come on. I'm a lifelong Star Wars fan. Star Trek as well, so come on. But I have never loved a starship or starships more than those Imperial, like, battle cruisers with those, like, ramps, but with those, like, cathedral-like architecture on top. It's so awesome, man. I mean, the moment I saw, like, the first illustrations by John Blanche of those, like, huge starships with a cathedral on the top, like, emerging from warp or something, man, I mean, it's such an unusual yet perfect combination. I mean, aesthetic combination that really pleases each and every single aesthetic cell that is inside my brain. It's very good. And so, a review for many of my former followers and subscribers here on the internet. A review for that kind of people who wrote that, like, don't consume comment in my previous videos is, no, it's not woke at all. No, don't worry, you don't have to be worried, it's not woke, no. Have we really fallen that low? That the only and the most important aspect and the most important point we have to make about each and every single piece of entertainment today is it woke or not? Why? I think we have moved past that. These are 2018 talking points. You know, let us move on. Let us progress a little bit. Those times are past, gone. The remnants are still here, of course, but come on. A show from 2022 is like the best show I've seen in, like, I don't even remember. It's really good. And I'm not even exaggerating. And so, yeah, I absolutely, definitely recommend that. It's a very good show. I recommend it to Warhammer 40k fans. And there's a thing that came up my mind, and I will make a separate video about that. No, I do not recommend it to non-Warhammer 40k fans. Nor do I recommend Warhammer 40k to normies. Absolutely not. I don't recommend Tolkien to normies. I don't recommend Star Wars to normies. I don't recommend these things to normies. Do you know why? Because the moment a fandom, a hobby, gets in the grasp of the wide audiences, it gets tainted. And not by the woke, but by all the idiots who suddenly claim that they know everything about it and that they are entitled to say whatever they want about it, and that they are entitled to correct you about each and every single fucking thing. So no, don't watch it. Right, let me know in the comments down below what you think, and that'll be all. Thank you very much for watching, and remember, the Emperor protects.